On the season finale of Out of the Shadows, learn what really brought Jeremiah Davis back home to Muncie. Take a look back at senior Matt Kamieniecki's career at Ball State. Visit with junior Bo Calhoun and his unique connection to a former Ball State great. And meet assistant coach Brian Thornton. Out of the Shadows starts now. What you achieved in the past doesn't give you a right to anything. Your goals are within reach if you honor those before you, whose banners hang from the rafters. Understand the hours, the pain, the sweat, the sacrifice needed to see the light. You've given yourself to the game, to the letters on the front of your jersey. Are you all in? This is your time. This is your town. This is your team. It's time for Ball State basketball to step out of the shadows.
You got to communicate. If somebody doesn't say a name, you go again. If we don't get it right, you owe me an 85-2.
We've had a tough stretch in conference play, really, for a lot of reasons. And I'll tell you, one of the biggest ones is honestly a credit to the conference. And the MAC is the best it's been in the last 15 years, and we're a rebuilding program. And those two have been a tough mix for us. You know, we've come across seemingly tough teams every night. We've had a lot of adversity this year. I always try to assess things just honestly. Some of them have been unfortunate breaks we can't control. Francis Capway getting hurt in May, Jeremiah Davis getting hurt in October, and Matt Kamieniecki getting hurt. Those are three key injuries for us. That's part of the game. We understand that. You know, Cammy going down is really the only experienced player we have in the program, and he really hasn't played since Bowling Green. And without him, our defense has really come unglued. We have yet to be able to fill his void on the defensive end. And he's coming around. In the meantime, we're trying like crazy to get our defense as organized and as strong as we can, so that when he comes back, we're able to kind of put it all together.
Diamond, good. Slowly back up, slowly back up. If I come, you throw it. If I don't, keep going. Keep going. Good. Flip, 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 flip.
In terms of dealing with the adversity, you know, Francis Capway has been one guy that has really gotten better. I couldn't be more proud of his progress as a player. He's playing great basketball. He works hard every day. He's getting better. And Bo Calhoun is another guy, especially in the offensive end. He's played well and has to continue to get better on defense. But the guy on our team that I would say is truly emerging as a leader both on the court and off is Franco House. Franco put in the work this summer, one of the hardest working guys I've coached, got his body right, and is leading our team in scoring in the conference. He's leading the whole conference in field goal percentage, and draws double teams every time he catches the ball. And in my opinion, has really emerged as one of the better players in the conference as just a sophomore.
Franco, sometimes that's going to happen as long as you communicate. Got to rely on each other. Talk.
We have to get our defense better. You know, we started off playing great defense through 2 games, and we haven't played as well. You know, we're not the biggest team in the world, and we're not the strongest team in the world, so we certainly have a ceiling defensively, but we're nowhere near what our ceiling is.
I've had to defend this against 6 point guards that are in the NBA, the best players in the game. What we do works if you do it.
You know, we're capable of being much better, and what we're working on every day in practice right now is I've basically shelved offense. We got to get our defensive identity, our defensive mindset, our defensive habits right, where we're becoming one of the upper tier teams in the conference defensively. And if we can do that, we'll surprise some people here down the stretch. That's the thing that we have to show that we can do.
This is about us getting to where we're trying to go. And to get to where you want to go, you can't turn that stuff on and off. Are you focused in the same way for practice that you're going to be for a game? Tell me, did you show up here ready? Did you prep yourself? Did you get here early? Did you get taped? Did you get loose? Did you say, hey, I'm going to come out here and dominate in practice today? Or did you show up at 1:06, grab my shoes, come on out here, I know I got practice today, I'm going to get through this deal, and I got a big game tomorrow? If you did the latter, you're like a million guys I coached. I love them all. I'm going to be working at anywhere from Walmart to high school coaching to CEO of a company. You're going to be one of them. But you're not going to be a player. You're not going to be a player. I bet my life on that.
Junior Jeremiah Davis's game was born and raised on the courts of Muncie, Indiana. After high school, Davis took his talents to Cincinnati. November 4th, 2013, Davis received a call which changed the Muncie native's basketball career forever, bringing Davis back to his hometown.
Hard times teach you to be selfless, for sure. That's probably what humbles you the most is a hard time. The decision to come back was mostly my family had a house fire, and I didn't think that me being in Cincinnati would help them being all the way far away from home. I thought it was the best interest of myself and my family to be there in the hard times. All the clothes and trophies and shoes and stuff like that were burned, but that's just that's material stuff. If I would have lost one of my family members, you can't get that back. It was definitely tough because at that time we had a game at Cincinnati. It was I got through it, but it was definitely hard. And then I came back here and I witnessed like the house fire. The house was almost burned down to the ground totally. So I had to make a decision, and I made a decision to come back home. It turned out to be a blessing in disguise for sure. So I'm here and just proud to be here. It's a great honor to represent Muncie, no matter where you go. Growing up here, watching people like P.D. Jackson, Skip Mills, Anthony Newell, Peyton Stovall, I'm happy to put on the Ball State jersey for sure. Nothing's given. Everything's earned. So that's one thing that I had in the back of my mind. You have to earn everything that you get, if it's from like school, even the basketball. So that's just part of it.
Hard times have also fallen on fifth-year senior Matt Kamieniecki. The Michigan native's career at Ball State has been riddled with injuries, limiting his playing time. As a freshman in 2010-2011, Kamieniecki missed 7 games with a knee injury and 2 games with a concussion. He started 10 games as a sophomore in 2011-2012, but missed 6 games to injury, which carried into the start of his junior year. Then, as a senior in 2013-2014, Kamieniecki redshirted the entire season with a wrist injury.
You get here as a freshman and things are a lot different. It's a lot more independent, being a college student. You got to do a lot of stuff on your own, get to class on your own.
His return to the court this year brought leadership and a much-needed presence on the defensive end.
This year is probably the best year I've had so far. Just trying to have like a voice on the court. Trying to coach guys, mentor guys. You get a little different perspective when you're sitting out. You kind of see things a little differently, kind of like a coach would. You just try to be a vocal leader. Stay engaged in practice, and just try to do things that way. So they kind of look at you as a leader. I just try to stay positive with it. I've had a lot of people, stand behind me with it. My dad helped me out with a lot, just because he had his fair share of injuries, and he's always been the one person I can always talk to. If I'm feeling down or sorry for myself, and he always just tells me to keep my head up, keep moving on, and stay with it. And being here for 5 years, you see a lot of people come, you see a lot of people go. And I think just the relationships you build with teammates, I think that'll be something. And then also just the competitiveness of everything, being a really competitive person is something that, we always miss, stepping out there on game days and stuff like that, competing in practice. I think that combined with, the relationships I've had with the guys, definitely a year from now probably miss a lot. Something that Coach Witt always talks about is a process thing. something I've learned from him is, do things right on and off the court. Eat right, train right, and then just go out there and give it your all. It's just kind of a guy that gave his all and kind of played every game like it was his last. Diving on the floor after loose balls, trying to get a rebound, take charges. I mean, not everyone's going to be that person. I think every team needs a guy like that, someone that's willing to do all the dirty work, kind of, get in there and fight. But that's kind of the legacy I want to leave. Is just, someone that gave their all every single game.
From 1990 to 1993, the Ball State Cardinals were a force to be reckoned with. Jamal Sylvester was a key piece to the winning formula.
Man, it was pretty cool. We did a lot of winning during my 4 years there.
In the paint, Turner, the paint, Payne gets the jam. Beats Estes. Greenwood comes in. Markey takes Greenwood on the other side of the rim and over. Hall inside.
With a combined record of 71 and 27, 2 NIT berths, a MAC title, and a bid to the NCAA tournament, the program was rolling.
Sylvester ahead of everybody. Ow! He snuck dunked him on that one. Oh!
I think they're just a pretty good group. I don't know the fairly low scoring Ball State Miami game.
Freshman year, I believe we went 21-10. I made the all-freshman MAC team. We went to the NIT, which was cool. Junior year rolls around. I had been sitting for 2 years, and now it was finally my turn. I was a starter, and I was kind of up and down. And Coach Hunsaker decided that he was going to put me on the bench because he said I wasn't ready to be a starter. And where I was kind of upset in the beginning, it ended up being the best thing for me and for our team. We ended up winning the MAC regular season. We won the MAC tournament, and we also went on to the NCAA tournament. I was a first team All-MAC selection.
But as much time as it takes to build success, it can also be destroyed in a split second.
Senior year rolls around, we got some super high expectations. Myself and Steve Payne was returning, and so we were threatening to make some noise in the MAC and around the country as well. And started off the season slow, played Butler, ended up beating them for the first time in my 4 years at Ball State, and then the punch. Got frustrated in practice, punched one of my teammates, man, and it changed my life. A decision that I went to sleep with for 21 years regretting because it changed the whole dynamics of my life from that day forward. And ended up getting kicked off the team, got sent back home to South Bend. Didn't quite know what was going on. Coach McCallum told me those dreadful words, don't call us, we'll call you. Then I got a phone call to go play ball over in Bordeaux, France, in Pro B. And I went over there and played, had a really good season. I was the leading scorer in France in the B division. And got invited to come back and play a second year. Did that, had another good season. Got an invite to play over in Argentina. Did good there. Got invited to play in Singapore where I averaged 36 and 15. So I led in scoring and rebounding. Things were looking real good. Signed a contract for $100,000 to play in Taiwan. I broke my kneecap 2 weeks before it was time for me to play. And so now it's no more basketball, now you gotta get a job. And at that point in my life, the only thing that I knew was basketball. That's the only thing that I had ever focused on. That's the only thing that I ever wanted to do. So I didn't have any per se skills, or I didn't know what I wanted to do or be.
Sylvester now coaches an 8th grade Catholic boys team in his hometown of South Bend, Indiana, where he hopes to make an impression.
And someone told me about a job over at Madison Center for Children as a mental health technician working with adolescent kids with behavioral issues, and started working there. And man, I began to see my love for young kids and kids who have been going through tough times, and kids who grew up without their fathers, and parents on drugs, and that was a lot of the life that I dealt with. And I made it a career, and I've been doing it for the last 15 years. I've been a volunteer worker at a non-for-profit organization called Heroes Camp, and we deal with inner city youth, and we use basketball as a bait. We have Bible study, but it's a mentoring program, and that's where I met Bo.
It's a camp for, it's just like, it's for like young men to help find themselves, but like, you know, when you, basically for people that don't have father figures in their life, in their household, but you know, you still need things in life like, you know, shelter, or like just get away, play a game, get some prayer. And they also provide you with food, haircuts. It's like a youth organization in the way that, you know, you just come together and just get the word and to have fun.
And I began to work him out and train him, and just began to talk to him about choices and, you know, your decisions, and just knowing that every choice that you make, the choices that you make today will determine what your tomorrow will look like.
Before I even committed here, Jamal always told me about how Ball State, his days here, everything, how he loved the school, the program, the coaches, the players. So like, it was really excited, but it was crazy because Ball State wasn't even recruiting me at the time. So like, I had no interest in Ball State.
Talk about not just basketball, but about life, and you know, the things that he needed to watch out for, and watching the company that he keep. And then when he told me he was going to Ball State, I was like, wow, really? Another South Bend kid going to Ball State. And I'm like, man, that's pretty cool.
I used to talk to him all the time freshman year when we were struggling and I wasn't playing so much. I always call him, and we just talk about basketball and just talk about life. And like, I always looked up to him for what he's done and what he had, you know, what he mean to me.
And I promised him that I would come to a game, but I was still scared from those decisions that I made while I was at Ball State that weren't the smartest decisions. And so I didn't get a chance to go watch him play his freshman and sophomore year. This past year, I was able to go back because I made the silver anniversary team and got inducted into the Indiana Boys High School Hall of Fame. And so I was able to come back home because I still feel like Muncie is home for me. I spent 4 years there, and although I did have some bad times there, I had more good than bad. And being there on January 24th reminded me of all of those good memories. He had a pretty good game, and he didn't even know I was coming. So when he saw me in the tunnel at halftime, he told me after the game that, you know, he's like, "Oh man, I gotta play now, you know, I'm all here."
I trained number 12. Did you?
I'm pretty sure I beat him now. I'm way better. Of course, I'm quicker, younger, and my game has evolved.
Bo probably wouldn't have said that if I would have been there. Yeah, it's easy to say that when I'm not around, but Bo, he got a lot of knots on his head. And a lot of them was me after working 8 hours of work, no stretch, and I would give Bo 19 out of the 21 points. And I wouldn't score all 21 because I didn't want to kill his confidence. But I'm Mr. Miyagi and he Danielson. And I told him I taught you how to wax on, but I didn't teach you how to wax off. So you'll never beat the master.
We used to play basketball all the time back at the camp at home, man. It was funny because he was always just like trying to school us, but he always would teach us, but trying to school us at the same time. But he taught me the game a lot, and you know, he was a different player because he was a lefty too, so I'm like, oh man. But he still had his game.
If anything, I can send to our current Ball State players and those that are to come, you know, think about what you do before you do it. I know a lot of people say count to 10. I have a new motto. I got 10 things that are important to me, and I count from 1 to 10 those things, and I've never made it past 4 before I go back to 1. And so every decision that I make now, I think about the other people that are affected by it. And so just know that the choices that you make, it's going to affect the future Cardinals. And so be wise in your decisions and your choices.
Another coach impacting Bo's development is assistant coach Brian Thornton.
Any assistant coach, our job is to make the head coach's job easier. That's our responsibility, and that's the thing that we all strive to do our best at doing. Coach Whitford does a great job. He's trying to build this program up. He's trying to make Ball State what it once was, and even take it a step further as time goes on. Granted, it's going to take a little time as we're starting to get the pieces in place, but I think that we're starting to see some of those fruits come to fruition. We're in a unique situation because our nucleus is here for the next couple of years. We're only graduating one guy, Matt Kamieniecki, who's kind of the heart and soul of our team from that standpoint. He's obviously fought through a ton of injuries, and we wish we had him, more on a full-time basis, but he's a guy who will be sorely missed. Ball State is a program, not a team, and what we want to make sure that we do is that we get better every single day, and I think that we're doing that. It's shown up in the number of wins from last year. Granted, we have more wins than we did last year, but we'd like to have more, of course. But I think in time that'll come. I think that being consistent is something we're starting to see with our team. We're a young team. We're playing 8 guys, and 6 of them are freshmen or sophomores. Xavier Turner has a ton of experience for a sophomore. Franco House has a lot of experience for a sophomore. But outside of that, our 2 juniors are Bo Calhoun, whose role is tremendously increased this year from what it's been in the past, and Jeremiah Davis, set out a year and a half after transferring. So even your older guys are young in the amount of time they've been on the floor. So just kind of becoming everyday guys and understanding that it is a process, and every day we got to continue to work and get better. All of our guys have individual things that they need to work on. I think for our post guys, which I focus more on, I think Franco House and Bo Calhoun have done a great job of improving, but they have to continue to get better. Franco has to become a better jump shooter from the perimeter. Bo has to continue to get physically stronger as a defender. Our guards have to, get better at ball handling and shooting. Every guy individually has to continue to make themselves better in order to make our collective team better. As an assistant coach, you're responsible for recruiting, bringing in the next group of talent that help Ball State be successful. You're also responsible for building relationships with your current guys. Recruiting is something that they say it's like shaving. You got to do a little bit every day. With our area, it's important for us to kind of protect our border, so to speak. Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, Illinois, Michigan, those teams tend to be the places we recruit the most because of its proximity to campus, and the Ball State name still has some relevance in those areas. So we try to look around for kids that fit what we need from a position standpoint, also kids who are high character and guys who we think can come in and do the workload both academically and athletically. We just have to try to get it the best pieces we can possible. We'll probably need another guard in the upcoming class, and we got to continue to build up our post nucleus as well. A lot of people have their eyes on, who the next big thing is, who the next recruit is, but the thing people can never lose sight of is the most important players in your program are the players that you already have. So building a relationship with those guys and making them understand how much you care, because players, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
There's an expression that you commonly hear that basketball teams are made in the wintertime. Basketball players are made in the summertime. We got to make sure that each of our guys is driven and using the summer to get better. First of all, it starts with our guys are here all summer and they're able to practice. We get legitimate practice time, and for, despite returning everybody, we'll still be one of the younger teams in college basketball next year. And so it gives us a chance to get real valuable practice time. It lets us start getting our chemistry together, and it's just an invaluable experience for those guys to get.
You just got to get one way or the other. You start going, great. You're going to come right here. You see that he flashes, get to the corner. Rocco's going to look. If your guy's in the paint, he's going to skip to you. If he's not, he's going to throw back and pick and roll. If you see that, finish your cut.
3 of the 4 players that returned off of last year's team have made incredible individual strides as players. Franco House is much improved from a year ago. Bo Calhoun is maybe the most improved player in college basketball, statistically speaking. And Rocco Belcaster, nobody else saw him because he didn't play, but I saw him every day in practice, is equally improved.
Rocco Belcaster!
All three of those guys made progress in the weight room, had great summers. We have to make sure as next year rolls around and now we have 11 or 12 players returning, that everybody has the same mentality, same work ethic that those guys. If everybody makes a jump like that, that's what puts us in a position to do what Central has done, what Toledo has done.
All right, fellas, good job. Good job.
Hours in the gym. The addition of highly touted incoming freshmen. The return of many members of this year's team. All reasons which equal optimism and success for Ball State basketball in 2015-2016.